Hi, it's Ralph Ferrett here, the Branch Secretary of the Plymouth and East Cornwall Mail. Another of our video messages in response to some of the communications you've had from Royal Mail recently. So this one today is a bit more focused on our delivery colleagues. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the stuff in the correspondence about route ownership. So when I read this, I imagined to start with, there's probably quite a lot of you who are quite enthusiastic about that prospect. I know that what work you do, what route you have is something that sort of matters to a lot of people. People care very, very strongly about it. And I imagine that some of you may be, say, floats or reserves thinking this is great, the company are promising me that I'm going to get my own route. Or maybe some of you are thinking that what this means is that the company are proposing that there's no prospect of you losing a route you like when a revision or a repick comes up. But I have to tell you that that isn't what Royal Mail mean by it. So first up, straight away, I'm afraid we're always going to have reserves in delivery offices. People are always going to need annual leave. People will sometimes be poorly and off sick from work. They'll have maternity leave, special leave, have to go to appointments. And on top of that, we work 6 days a week and most of our duties are structured on the basis of 5-day-a-week working or less. So there's always going to need to be some people in any delivery office who are reserves and floats and cover other duties. I'm afraid that's a fact of life and there's nothing that the company or the union can ever do to stop that. And similarly, once we've set the duties up, there's always going to be times when those duties change. There's new builds happening or houses getting demolished or changes in the amount of mail that we have or changes in the technology we use to sort it or deliver it. There's never going to be a time where one set of duties gets put in place and that's there forever. There's always going to be the possibility that we have to have a repick, and that might mean that you don't get to do the duty that you're currently doing. And unfortunately, there's no way around it. So the best case scenario, where those duties are set up as fairly as possible with your involvement, and then you get a democratic say on whether or not they go forward or not, is the status quo. It's the way we do things at the moment in delivery offices. And whilst I know that some people aren't always happy with the way we pick things, the current selection criteria of seniority and then a way of choosing between people is, I think, broadly popular amongst most of our members, and it's something that's fair and easy to understand and everybody knows where they are with that. You know what? It's not perfect, but I think the status quo is the best we can hope for as ordinary postal workers about who gets to do what, where, when and how. So that's not what the company mean by owning your own round. And I think it's really important that I tell you exactly what it is that they mean, because I don't think many of you will be happy about it when you understand what it really is that Royal Mail are driving at. So what is it that they're driving at? Well, when they say route ownership, what they're talking about is you owning the work. So think about that for a minute. You own the work. So what that means is when it's a really, really heavy day and an unexpected number of tracts or packets or whatever come into the office and there's so much work that it would take somebody up to 8 o'clock at night to deliver it all, you own that route. You have to cover all that work. They're probably not even saying you get overtime for it because it's a route that you own. That's what Royal Mail mean by route ownership. And when the union question this and question what that means if somebody's got a doctor's appointment or a hospital appointment or a massive family commitment they can't get out of, they can't tell us what the answer to that is. But we know what the answer to that is, that they would expect you, no matter what, to fulfil that work. And then they'll dress this up in the language of, it's all about give and take. Well, first of all, I'd like to think that everybody who works in a delivery office will see through that now. We've seen how that works with lapsing and absorption and how much of a two-way street that really is. I tell you what, I think you all know that Royal Mail are really, really big on the take side of the equation, but they're much, much less keen on the give side of the equation. If they get to do this kind of thing, there's no way it's going to work for you as an ordinary postman. That isn't what they're trying to achieve. They're trying to achieve something for them. And I'll move on to the stuff about lapsing and absorption. So they're telling us that they've done this big communication where they've spoken apparently to 70,000 postal workers, although strangely not a single person that I know, and that they've got this feedback and they want to get rid of lapsing and absorption. So that's what they're telling you in their correspondence, and I'm sure a lot of you have read that and thought, great. But again, they don't mean that that stuff's going to stop happening. They just mean that they want to structure the workload in offices in different ways. And basically, they want to structure it in such a way that doing that extra work at their say-so and at their requirement becomes a normal part of your job. So it happened a bit before my time, but those of you watching this who've been around the block for longer than I have will remember something called the employee agenda. And one of the things that the company were keen on then, and I have to tell you they're still keen on it now, is team working. So that you're in a group of people who have a responsibility to get some mail done, and if one of you goes sick or is on leave or gets taken home because you're feeling ill or something happens, whatever, the rest of you have a responsibility to clear that post. Now, as a union and as a workforce, we've said no to that for a very long time. But that's the truth of what the company are coming for. So they can send you lots of glossy magazines and they can put loads of stuff up on the Royal Mail TV, but they're not being straight with you and they're not being honest with you about what it is that they really mean. So I'm happy to come and talk to you in your offices about this, and there will definitely still be a process by which me and the senior officials come out to every unit. But we wanted to make sure that while you were waiting for that to happen, we could answer some of the questions we knew you'd have about that correspondence. So everyone, keep the faith, support your union. We're not going to roll over to their agenda, and we'll keep telling it like it is so you know what the situation is. Thanks very much.